Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss the myeloproliferative disorder. Be attentive and be interactive during session. Okay, if you have any queries or question, you can question in chat box, and I will answer you at the end of the lecture. We will discuss the history and background of myeloproliferative disorder, their definition, their type, signs and symptoms, what are the causes and genetics behind the MPNs, myeloproliferative neoplasm, their diagnostic test, and the treatment option for the myeloproliferative neoplasm. What is the neoplasm? Can anyone tell me what is the neoplasm? What do you understand about neoplasm? Neoplasm is a new growth due to the dysregulated proliferation of transformed cell growth factors that regulate proliferation are reduced or eliminated by the genetic mutations. It is a new growth, abnormal new growth is a neoplasm. The concept of the myeloproliferative disease was first proposed in 1951 by the hematologist William Demchak. And in 1960, Nobel and Hungerford discovered the Philadelphia chromosome, which is the hallmark in the diagnosis of the chronic myeloid leukemia. MPNs are the diseases, clonal diseases originating in the multipotential hematopoietic cells characterized by the independence of the numerous cytokines, resulting in increased and abnormal myelopoiesis and classified according to the predominant phenotype. For example, if there is an increased myelopoiesis, a disease named as a chronic myeloid leukemia. A group of disease characterized by the overgrowth of the one or the more hematological cell lines in the bone marrow. Chronic myeloid leukemia, there is an increased myelopoiesis. In polycythemia vera, there is an increased red cell mass. And in the essential thrombocythemia, there is an increased platelet count causing the thrombocytosis. We already discussed the MPDs, myeloproliferative diseases, are the clonal disorders characterized by leukocytosis, thrombocytosis, erythrocytosis, splenomegaly due to the axon-mediated hematopoiesis, and the bone marrow hypercellularity. This is a picture showing this is a blood stem cell. They give rise to the progenitor, and progenitor converted into the either the myeloid series, either in the erythroid series, and in the platelets. Okay, this is the picture showing this is the normal bone marrow, healthy bone marrow matrix showing the normal fibroblast count. And in the primary myelofibrosis, there is an increased two myofibroblasts showing the increased fibrosis. This is the abnormal structure of the bone marrow. This is the healthy bone marrow matrix. This is a normal red cells mass in the peripheral smear. This is normal. If you compare with this picture, this is an increased red cell mass, abnormal red cell mass, and resulting in the polycythemia vera. There are the normal platelet count in the peripheral smear, and if there is an increased platelet count with the anisocytosis means different sizes of the platelets. So this can be seen in the essential thrombocythemia. This picture taken from the MD Anderson Cancer Center. We will classify the classical disorder and atypical disorders. Classical disorder including Philadelphia positive disorder including the chronic myeloid leukemia, and Philadelphia negative. Philadelphia negative including polycythemia vera, essential thrombocythemia, and the myelofibrosis. And few are the atypical disorder, which are the rare disorder, are the chronic neutrophilic leukemia. There is an increased neutrophilic leukocytosis. Chronic eosinophilic leukemia, there is an increased eosinophilic lineage, increased eosinophilia, and chronic mast cell leukemia when there is an increased mast cell leukocytosis, increased mast cell in the marrow. Okay, this is the normal development of the blood cell. This is the hematopoietic stem cell. It gives rise to the myeloid progenitors and the lymphoid progenitor. Lymphoid progenitor divided into the B cell and the T cell, but myeloid progenitor give rise to the mast cell, erythrocytes, platelets, eosinophils, neutrophils, and monocytes. And myeloproliferative disease can develop in any one of the cell types. When there is a defect in the genetic mutation in the mast cell lineage, it gives rise to the systemic mastocytosis. If there is a defect in the erythrocyte lineage, it gives rise to the polycythemia vera. If there is a defect or the mutation in the platelet lineage, it gives rise to the essential thrombocythemia. If there is a eosinophilic lineage defect, it gives rise to the hypereosinophilic syndrome or the chronic eosinophilic leukemia. If there is a myeloid cell defect, it gives rise to the chronic myeloid leukemia. If there is a monocytes abnormalities lineage, it gives rise to the myelomonocytic leukemia. And when there is a fibrosis in the bone marrow and pancytopenia, it is the myelofibrosis. Now coming to the main topic is a chronic myeloid leukemia. As you all know, chronic myeloid leukemia results from the somatic mutations in the hematopoietic stem cell, and disease divided into the three phases: chronic phase, accelerated phase, and blastic phase. This is a Philadelphia chromosome, which is a hallmark for the diagnosis of the CML. More than 95% of the patients with CML have the Philadelphia chromosome positive, and the subset of the patient with CML lack a detectable PH chromosome but have the fusion product of the BCR-ABL translocation detectable by the polymerase chain reaction. This is a normal chromosome, ABL gene located in the chromosome 9 and BCR gene located on the chromosome 22. When there is a translocation, there is a translocation of the ABL gene to the BCR, and it forms the ABL BCR gene fusion protein on the chromosome 22, and chromosome 22 becomes the Philadelphia chromosome. Why is calling the Philadelphia chromosome? Can anyone tell me? You can write in the chat box. Okay, BCR-ABL fusion protein, what resulting in the uncontrolled kinase activity, resulting in the deregulated cell proliferation, decreased adherence of the leukemia cell to the bone marrow, stroma, so they comes into the peripheral blood, and leukemic cell protected from the normal programmed cell death, resulting in the increased myelopoiesis, increased myeloid proliferation. What are the clinical features? Symptoms, most of the patients are asymptomatic at the time of diagnosis, and 90% diagnosed in the chronic phase. Symptom, patient came to you with the symptoms of fatigue, malaise, generalized weakness, anemia in some cases, and abdominal discomfort due to the splenomegaly, weight loss, excessive sweating, or fever. Excessive sweating is a B symptom of many diseases. And on examination, most of the patients having the splenomegaly, massive splenomegaly. And less frequent symptoms are the symptom of the leukosphasis and splenic infarction due to the blockage of the blood in the spleen, and urticaria, physical sign including the pilar, splenomegaly, and the sternal pain. So after taking a history and examination, okay, you advise CBC to see the increased leukocyte count, and hemoglobin concentration is decreased or normal. Nucleated cell in the blood stream can be seen. Leukocyte count is increased above 25,000, and granulocytes are at all stages of development. Okay, these are the myelocyte, neutrophil, all stages of the myeloids seen in the peripheral blood. And basophil count is also increased. Okay, this is the turbid serum due to the increased leukocyte count. And these are the red cells. Okay, this is the normal. If you compare these both pictures, this is the normal CBC, normal peripheral smear, showing the various types of the WBCs, neutrophil, eosinophil, lymphocytes, RBCs, and platelet count. This is the picture of the CML patient, okay, showing the bimolar peak at the level of the neutrophil and the myelocytes. There is the increased basophil count, eosinophils, so showing the increased granulocytic, increased granulocytosis with the neutrophil and immature granulocytes. Next step is the bone marrow showing the relative suppression of the erythroid series and increased thyroid proliferation and increased microcyte can be seen in about 30% patient can be present with the fibrosis. So we done with the CBC, bone marrow pathology, bone marrow finding, and then we will advise the cytogenetic to see the Philadelphia chromosome. Cytogenetic is the study of the chromosomal abnormalities, and this is the chromosome 9 and this is the chromosome 22. They are the translocation of the ABL to the BCR gene and forming the BCR ABL4 fusion protein. There is a FISH technique, fluorescent in situ hybridization. Okay, in the FISH technique, we use the different probes and showing the specific translocation. This is the BCR gene, this is the ABL gene 22. When they are fused, they give rise to the yellow color mutation, fusion, ABL BCR fusion protein. And you must check the molecular test for the presence of the BCR ABL fusion gene to see the copies of the BCR ABL gene at the diagnosis. So it is helpful to see the response of the treatment during the disease course. When the CML patient came to you, you should take the history and examination. You advise the CBC, you advise the bone marrow biopsy and the cytogenetic to see the Philadelphia chromosome and the polymerase chain reaction to see the presence of the BCR ABL fusion gene, either quantitative or the qualitative. There are the different phases. Most of the patients fall in the chronic phase, but some patient, most patient, not some patient eventually become resistant to therapy and disease enter the more aggressive phase. Accelerated phase criteria are blast in the blood of bone marrow between 10 to 19%. There is an increased basophilia more than 20%. Thrombocytopenia or thrombocytosis in response to therapy, additional chromosomal aberration abnormalities other than Philadelphia chromosome, and refractory splenomegalia, the refractory leukocytosis in response to therapy. Patient on therapy can develop the accelerated phase. So CML can be in late to the blast phase. These are all the blasts and criteria of the blast. Blast is more than 20%, not 30%, more than 20% peripheral blood or the bone marrow, and extramedullary tumor and sarcoma can be found on the patient's body. So these are the criteria for the blast phase of the CML. Most of the patient converted into the acute myeloid leukemia. 30% patient can be converted into the acute lymphoblastic leukemia. What are the goals of treatment? First goal is the normalization of the hematological abnormalities and quality of life is important. Quality of life of patients is more important. Normalization of the hematologic abnormalities and suppression of the malignant BCR ABL expressing colon. So we have an option for the treatment of the chronic myeloid leukemia. No, a question is blast is acute phase. No, blast not is acute phase. Some patient can be present with the blast phase. It depends on the aggressiveness of disease. Maybe they have other clonal aberration with the Philadelphia chromosome. So every patient behave differently. This is the algorithm for treating CML. When you diagnose the chronic myeloid leukemia, you can offer the imatinib. Imatinib is a tyrosine kinase inhibitor. Okay, it competes with the B-cell-ABL fusion protein, and they compete with B-cell-ABL fusion protein and decreases the phosphorylation of the tyrosine kinase, decreases the proliferation of the cells. So, if there is response to the imatinib, to continue the imatinib. If there is a failed response to the imatinib, consider for other TKI. TKI, what is the TKI? Tyrosine kinase inhibitor. Other TKIs are the nilotinib and dasatinib. And you can offer the stem cell transplant in the young patients. If there is a match identical partner is available. Okay, this is all about the chronic myeloid leukemia. If you have any question, you can send me on chat box. Any question regarding the chronic myeloid leukemia? Yes, Mohit, is urticaria, it could be the reduced xenophila because there is a release of cytokine, it can cause the urticaria. Urticaria is a non-specific symptoms in many diseases. Any question, or we can proceed further? If you don't have question, I will ask you question at the end of lecture. So, now coming to the polycythemia vera. What is the polycythemia vera? Polycythemia vera is strongly associated with the activating point mutation in the tyrosine kinase JAK2. JAK2 acts as a signaling pathway downstream of the erythropoietin receptor and other growth factor receptors. So when there is a mutation in this JAK2 mutation, it can further access the production of the all myeloid cell line, but predominantly red cells in the polycythemia vera. This produces an excessive proliferation of erythroid, granulocytic, myelocytic element, panmyelosis. Okay, this is the mechanism. When there is a decreased oxygen supply, kidneys releases the increased erythropoietin to the renal sensor, and it causing the erythroid hyperplasia and resulting in the increased red cell production. What are the causes of secondary polycythemia? Secondary polycythemia causes including dehydration, pulmonary or cardiac diseases, smoking, high adaptation, high altitude, stay at the heights of more than 2,000 heights. And increased erythropoietin can be released due to the renal disorder, paraneoplastic syndrome, hemangioblastima, lung cancer, pheochromocytoma. Just remember name of these things, what are the causes of the increased erythropoietin and what are the causes of the secondary polycythemia. And we are discussing the primary polycythemia. Primary polycythemia is always due to the clonal abnormality. Okay, these are the normal hematocrit in the male 47 and female is 42. And normal hemoglobin is in male is 15 and female is 11.5 to 13.5 in our population. There are a few phases of the polycythemia vera. If it is a latent phase, patient presently asymptomatically. Most of the patient present with asymptomatic, they can be accidentally identified when they are doing the blood donation or other things. Proliferative phase, patient may be hypermetabolic if the sign and symptom of the hyperviscosity or thrombosis. Spent phase, patient present with anemia, leukopenia, and fibrosis, increased liver and spleen size due to the extramedullary hematopoiesis. And some patient, 1 to 2% of the patient can some patient can convert it into the secondary AML, and most of the patient treated the phlebotomy alone, removal of the blood pin, and certain drug therapies increase the risks. What are the symptoms and signs? Most of the patient present with a headache, weakness, dizziness, visual disturbances, weight loss. And signs include splenomegaly, with the axonal enterprises, skin plethora. And skin plethora due to the increased red cell mass, hepatomegaly, and some patient present with a conjunctival plethora, redness of the eyes, and systolic hypertension. So when the patient comes with a history of these signs and symptoms, you take detailed history, and you can take other history of the drugs, and on examination you can find the splenomegaly or the hepatomegaly, and on CBC there the increased hemoglobin count can be up to the 20 gram per deciliter hemoglobin can be found, and there is the increased erythroid can be seen on the peripheral smear with the normal WBCs and the platelet count. This is the bone marrow. This showing the panmyelosis. Panmyelosis means there is an increased erythroid, increased myeloid, and increased megakaryocyte series on the bone marrow. And there is a specific finding in the megakaryocytes found, like bulbous or the atypical features can be found in the megakaryocytes. The panmyelosis is the feature in the initial stage of the polycythemia. Okay, what is the normal function? We have already discussed normal function of JAK2, provide the instruction for making the protein that promotes the growth and division of the cells. And this protein is a part of a signaling pathway called the JAK state pathway, which transmit chemical signals from the outside the cell to the cell nucleus. There is a normal function of the JAK2. When there is a mutation in the JAK2, it can give rise to the many MPNs, myeloproliferative neoplasm. So JAK2 mutation positive in 90% of cases of the polycythemia. And about 5% cases are positive with the JAK2 exon 12 mutation. Whether in polycythemia there is no anemia. When there is increased hemoglobin, so you can diagnose as the polycythemia. If there is anemia, it can be the other disease other than the polycythemia. Polycythemia is the increased hemoglobin concentration. Anemia is the decreased hemoglobin concentration. So what are the treatment options? Treatment option is the phlebotomy. 1 unit of blood approximately have the 500 ml, and chemotherapy you can give the hydroxyurea and allogenic bone marrow transplant in the younger patient if you have the haploidentical match, and JAK2 inhibitors because there is a mutation in the JAK2 gene, so you can give the JAK2 inhibitor like ruxolitinib and the Revolid. They are available in many centers. In civil oncology department, also give the JAK2 inhibitors in these cases. Prognosis, 10-year survival can be seen in that 40 to 50% of the patient, and median survival is 9 to 12 years. Any question regarding the polycythemia? No, not one phlebotomy is indicated. It depends on the hemoglobin concentration, and the symptoms of the patient. 1 unit of blood approximately is removed weekly until the hematocrit is less than 45%. The hematocrit maintained as less than 45% by repeated phlebotomy as necessary. Phlebotomy is the removal of the blood. Are you all understand? Phlebotomy is a 1 unit of blood removed until the hematocrit is less than 45%. You should maintain hematocrit less than 45%, and repeated phlebotomy is necessary. And chemotherapy should be given patient where the phlebotomy is contraindicated. Any other question? Okay. Phases I can repeat. We go back. Okay, this is a latent phase in which the patient is asymptomatic. Proliferative phase, patient present with the sign symptom of the hyperviscosity or thrombosis. In spent phase, then there is the increased fibrosis can be seen in the marrow. So, patient present with the anemia, leukopenia, secondary myelofibrosis. This is the aggressive phase. Because there is a genetic defect of the JAK2 pathway, so increased erythroid lineage is affected and the increased erythropoiesis is seen. It can affect the all lineages like myeloid lineage, erythroid lineage, and the microcytic lineage. And spent phase when there is the polycythemia vera can be converted into the acute myeloid leukemia or the myelofibrosis. When there is a myelofibrosis in the marrow, patient present with the anemia in the spent phase. This is the aggressive stage. This is the last stage in this disease. So anemia is due to the when there is a fibrosis in the marrow, it converted into the myelofibrosis. Myelofibrosis secondary to the polycythemia vera. Yeah, due to the bone marrow fibrosis. Primary myelofibrosis and secondary myelofibrosis can be due to the polycythemia vera or the essential thrombocythemia. These disorders are all linked together due to they are sharing the same genetic mutation. Any question or proceed further? Now coming to the essential thrombocythemia. What is the essential thrombocythemia? Can anyone tell me what is the essential thrombocythemia? What is the defect in the essential thrombocythemia? Very good, Savera. Malignant proliferation of the myeloid cell predominantly affect the megakaryocyte. Not myeloid cell, it is the predominantly affect the megakaryocyte platelet, resulting in the thrombocytosis. Hematopoietic stem cell disease with a clonal expansion of the thrombocytophysis and thrombocytosis more than 450,000. Normal count varies between the 150,000 to 400,000 of platelet count. Good, Maurice. You are right. Increased functional platelet due to the neoplastic proliferation of the megakaryocytic lineage. Patient came with a history of the thrombosis are can be present with the accidental finding when you see the CBC, and CBC showing the increased platelet count more than 450,000, and the CBC with the peripheral is showing normal RBC count, normal WBC count with the increased platelet count, and there is a anisocytosis. Different sizes of the platelet can be found. This is a platelet of the giant size. This is a large platelet. They are the normal size platelet. So they all finding can be suggestive of the essential thrombocythemia, but you need a clonal genetic mutation to label essential thrombocythemia. CBC showing the normal hemoglobin, normal TLC, WBC count with the increased platelet count. Yes, normal hemoglobin, increased platelet count in the essential thrombocythemia. The defect in the macrocytic lineage. When you see the bone marrow finding showing the normal erythroid lineage, normal erythropoiesis, and myeloid lineage showing the on stages of differentiation and maturation. Okay, sorry for interruption. We are discussing the bone marrow finding in the essential thrombocythemia, and in essential thrombocythemia, bone marrow showing the normal erythropoiesis and myelopoiesis with the increased megakaryocytic proliferation, and there is a classical finding showing the hyperlobulated megakaryocytes. And in the bone marrow aspirate, you can see the platelet island, platelet clumps, and increased platelet count and megakaryocytes. What is the criteria for the essential thrombocythemia? WHO criteria: sustained platelet count of more than 450, and bone marrow biopsy specimen showing the proliferation mainly of the megakaryocyte lineage with increased number of the enlarged mature megakaryocytes. And you exclude the WHO criteria for the polycythemia vera, myelofibrosis, chronic myeloid leukemia, myelodysplastic syndrome, and other myeloid neoplasm. So you take the history with these all criteria: platelet count of more than 450, bone marrow biopsy showing the proliferation of the megakaryocytes, and you exclude the polycythemia vera, myelofibrosis, chronic myeloid leukemia, other myeloid neoplasm. And fourth is the demonstration of the JAK2, B617F or other clonal marker, CMPL or the calreticulin, are in the absence of the clonal marker, no evidence of the reactive thrombocytosis. If there is a more than 3 months thrombocytosis and absence of the clonal marker, you exclude the reactive cause of thrombocytosis, you can label the patient as the essential thrombocythemia. Because 50 to 55% patient positive JAK2 and other half of the patients are negative for the JAK2, and only 1 to 5% patient can be positive of the CMPL and calreticulin. Diagnosis require meeting all 4 criteria. Okay, what are the treatment? You observe the patient. If the patient is symptomatic, if there is a symptom, you can give the aspirin 100 milligram OD. You can give the chemotherapy hydroxyurea 500 to 1.5 gram per day. Anagrelide. What is the action of the anagrelide? Anagrelide inhibit the phosphodiesterase and phospholipase A2, leading to the inhibition of the megakaryopoiesis and the thrombopoiesis. It inhibits the megakaryopoiesis and thrombopoiesis. And interferon alpha, you can give the subcutaneous 3 times weekly. And pegylated interferon, you can give the 50 to 100 microgram weekly. So these are the treatment options. Any question regarding the essential thrombocythemia? Or we can proceed further. Hydroxyurea is a cytoreductive therapy. When there is an increased cells in your blood, you can give the hydroxyurea. Hydroxyurea is the cytoreductive therapy to decreases the cell count. It can cause the cytopenias if you give the in prolonged duration. If there is a thrombosis, you can give the aspirin and you can give the anticoagulant therapy in this patient. It is divided into the different risk groups. If there is a bleeding or thrombosis, management will be different. Okay, now come to myelofibrosis. What is the myelofibrosis? Myelofibrosis is the malignant stem cell disease with the bone marrow fibrosis and suppression of the hematopoietic active bone marrow. When there is a fibrosis, so separation of the hematopoietic cells, erythroid, myeloid, and MAX, all are suppressed due to the bone marrow fibrosis. What is the pathogenesis? There is the clonal myeloproliferation, atypical megakaryocytic hyperplasia in early stage. Then stimulation of the normal fibroblasts, collagen synthesis in response to the increased platelet-derived growth factor, and then increased reactive myelofibrosis, transition to the pre-fibrotic to fibrotic stage. There are different stages: pre-fibrotic stage and fibrotic stage. In pre-fibrotic stage, there is the myeloproliferation can be seen in the marrow, atypical megakaryocytic hyperplasia can be seen. And when there is suppression of the normal hematopoiesis and give rise to the anemia. And extramedullary hematopoiesis in spleen, liver, and other organ. Patient present with the anemia and splenomegaly in most cases. In most cases, patient present with anemia, splenomegaly, and repeated transfusion. What are the clinical features? Initial symptoms often diagnosed accidentally because initially it is asymptomatic when there is a prefibrotic stage. As the bone marrow fibrosis increases, so normal hematopoiesis decreases, patient present with anemia, weakness, fatigue, and decreased performance at pillar. Leukopenia gives rise to the infection, patient present with the fever and the multiple infection, and there is the thrombocytopenia, patient present with the bleeding, and there are petechiae, bleeding, and splenomegaly, hepatomegaly due to the extramedullary hematopoiesis. When there is a myelofibrosis, spleen and the liver showing the extramedullary hematopoiesis. Okay, this is the CBC with the peripheral smear showing the teardrop CBCs. This is the specific or the classical feature can be seen in the myelofibrosis. Teardrop due to the marrow fibrosis, teardrop RBCs, and these are the myelocytes and the nucleated red cells. What is the meaning of these two cells when they come into the peripheral blood? I have already told you in previous lecture, when there is the left shift cell, myelocyte and nucleated red cell in your peripheral blood, what is this? Can anyone tell me what terminology used for these two cells when they come into the peripheral blood? Lymphoerythroid change? No. Good effort. But this is the leukoerythroblastic picture. Okay? the leukocytes, and this is the erythroid. The leukoerythroblastic picture. This is called as leukoerythroblastic picture. When there is a left shift cell and the nucleated cell in your marrow, and is showing the marrow infiltration or marrow fibrosis. Narrow strays can be brought to the leukoerythroblastic picture. This is a classical picture, can be seen in the myelofibrosis. Okay, this is a morphology of the bone marrow. This is the picture peripheral smear showing same feature. You can see this is the disruption of the bone marrow architecture and obliteration of the fat spaces, and there is a streaming of the cell due to the increased fibrotic activity. This all the fibroblasts showing the streaming of the cell. These are the megakaryocytes showing the abnormal morphology, and due to this fibrosis, patient present with the anemia, leukopenia, and thrombocytopenia. Can you have any idea what is the other tests can be advised to see the bone marrow fibrosis? Can any test applied on the trephine to see the fibrosis? This is a bone marrow biopsy. You can apply the reticulin stain to see the grade of fibrosis. Usually 2 to 3 MF fibrosis seen in the myelofibrosis, and trichrome stain used to see the fibrosis. Usually marrow cannot be aspirated because there is a fibrosis, and in early stages disease, marrow is hypercellular, and there is no characteristic chromosomal abnormality seen in the myelofibrosis. Haiga, wait for 2 minutes. I will give you answer at the end of lecture. Okay, JAK2 mutated in 60-65% of the cases. So, polycythemia vera, myelofibrosis, essential thrombocytopenia share the same JAK2 mutation. Because JAK state pathway controlling the proliferation of the myeloid, erythroid, and myelofibrocyte lineage. So, it can be seen in the 60-65% of the cases. JAK2 mutation. Treatment according to the symptoms. Anemia patients supported with the transfusion. They on the repeated transfusion. Most of the patients on the monthly transfusion. First line therapy for myelofibrosis associated spontaneous hydroxyurea, radiation therapy for the extramedullary hematopoiesis, ruxolitinib or JAK2 inhibitor. So some patient can be response well on the ruxolitinib. The only potential curative option for this disease is the allogenic stem cell transplant in selected patient, in the younger patient who have no comorbid and who have the haploidentical match. You can see this picture, JAK2 mutation frequency. Wait is chosen, wait for 2 minutes. Polycythemia vera in 90 to 95% cases positive for the JAK2 mutation, and exon 12 mutation can be seen in the 2 to 5% cases of polycythemia. ET 50-60% positive for JAK2 and 50-60% in primary myelofibrosis. Mutation other than JAK2, polycythemia vera, either it is the JAK2 positive or the JAK2 exon 12 mutation. And in primary myelofibrosis and essential thrombocythemia, there are the other clonal genetic aberration like MPL can be seen in 1 to 5% of cases, and calreticulin mutation can be seen in 30 to 40% of cases. And some 10% of the cases are the triple negative. They are JAK2 negative, MPL negative, and calreticulin negative. So you can judge on the basis of the clinical features, and you exclude the reactive causes to label the essential thrombocythemia primary myelofibrosis. Okay, we will discuss the histiocytic neoplasm with the MDS on Friday, inshallah. This is the chart showing the different characterization of the individual myeloproliferative neoplasm. Now coming to the questions. I already told you this JAK-STRID pathway controlling the proliferation of three lineages, megakaryocytic, erythroid, and myeloid. So this mutation can affect any lineage and causing the three different abnormalities. No, lumbar fracture not for diagnosis of these myeloproliferative neoplasm. No need to do the lumbar puncture. No, MRI not helpful to diagnose the myelofibrosis. Myelofibrosis diagnosed on the biopsies, on bone marrow biopsies, a liver biopsy, or the spleen biopsy. Any question or? Not mostly can we have two myeloproliferative disorder, but polycythemia vera, essential thrombocythemia, can be converted into myelofibrosis or acute myeloid leukemia. Okay, can anyone tell me what is the defect in the chronic myeloid leukemia? What is the lab index? Lab index is to differentiate between the chronic myeloid leukemia and leukocyte reaction. It is the leukocyte lab score is increased in the infection and leukocyte reaction and will be decreased in the CML. But this test is obsolete, not using in routine. Okay, go to Moise, B-cell Everest translocation 922. And what is the treatment option for the CML? Yes, imatinib, inatinib, tyrosine kinase inhibitor. What is the morphological abnormality seen in the bone marrow of the myelofibrosis? Good, increase fibrous tissue and less hematopoietic tissue. Good. And what is the percentage of JAK2 present in the polycythemia vera? Any other student, not Moise. Good, Hasna, 90 to 95%. And in what is the JAK2 frequency in the ET, essential thrombocythemia, and the myelofibrosis? Good. Can you name the any other genetic abnormalities seen in the ET and the myelofibrosis, essential thrombocythemia and myelofibrosis? This is my mail ID. You can ask any previous question on my mail ID. So I hope you all are understand about the amphion. So we are closing our today's lecture. Okay, thank you so much for your patience and time. साकिब एंड कर दें.